Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Before starting my video, if you didn't subscribe my channel yet, please do, and do not forget to turn on notifications because I'm here every day for you. Alright, in this lesson I'm going to start to create an API consumer project. Alright, let's right click on solution, add new project, and consumer is an MVC project, so I'm going to create an MVC project. Next API, let's give an API consumer. Next, and let's create. All right, perfect. So what is an API consumer project? Previous lesson, I showed you how can we create an API project, and obviously once we publish those API projects, someone has to consume those APIs. So we need to make a connection between our API and the MVC project. Then we're going to consume the data provided by API. So that's why we are, how can I say, that's why we are telling API providers for API project, and we are call API consumer for our MVC project. Okay, to make everything much more clear, I'm going to open my board, and I'm going to do a small explanation to make everything clear before typing our codes. All right, let's say this is our API. In parentheses, I'm gonna say provider. All right, so we have an MVC project, and we can use this MVC project as an API consumer. All right, and we have, let's make a flow, and we have a user here. All right, let's go through our scenario one more time. A user make a request to an MVC project. Okay, let's type here request. As an example, we can say user wants to see all data. It's a just simple listing request. Okay, if it's a normal MVC project, what's gonna happen? Our controller receive request, then send this request to the action methods, and these action methods goes to database, and once we receive the response, we render our view, and we send this view to the user. This is what was our MVC cycle lifetime normally. But in this section, in this scenario, we're not going to use our own database. We're going to connect an API provider, and API provider connect the database, do the logic and everything, and send back us the data. Okay, let's remove those sections. All right, so once our controller receive our request, then our MVC API consumer going to send this request to the API provider straight away. All right, let's type here API controller receive request. Perfect. Once API receive this request, this API can make a database query or whatever it is, what it depends the scenario and API duty. So I'm just giving a um, simple example. Just imagine it is using a database and send a request, a query to database. Once we have our data, right? Response controller. By the way, these controller are same. I'm just making a visualization for you. So once we receive our response controller, we're going to return this response to our API consumer. Let me type here. This is going to be, by the way, an HTTP request using HTTP client. All right. Perfect. So we received our response, and this response is going to be received by the controller. Then after we received it, we can render our view. We can demonstrate our data to the user. Response. All right. Perfect. This is how API consumer and API provider is working. In this lesson, I'm going to split it two different provider, okay? The first one is custom API provider created by us, and the second one is we're going to find some public API provider and we're going to try to get data from those public providers. All right, let's clear our screen. Okay, the first lesson, which is this one, is going to be about public providers. Okay, let's go to our controllers. I'm going to create a new controller. Let's add controller. It's going to be MVC controller, public API consumer controller. Perfect. All right, this is our consumer controller. Now I'm going to find some example data from the internet. I found a freetestapi.com. If you type this address to your browser, you will able to see a lot of public API endpoints and you can test them. But these are, how can I say, a fake data. So I would like to make a real public data. So I found, actually, I was playing a game which is called Guild Wars 2, and they are providing public APIs. Let's have a look first. Guild Wars 2 API documentation. This is how we are searching API documentations. Okay, let's click the website and let's investigate. By the way, I did not any preparation. I'm going to look with you and I'm going to try to figure out how we're able to connect to your database and receive public information. All right, let's have a look contents here. Let me make bigger the website a bit more. All right, we're going to use version 2 endpoints, which is much more up to date. Let's click this one. So these are authenticated. So you need to authenticate to use those endpoints, but we need to use the public ones. Game mechanics, guild authenticating, home instance, items. All right, we can use the items probably. These are not asking authentication. Let's have a look items. Okay, the endpoint is v2 items ID. Perfect. So we need a base address, right? We need to find the base address, and then we can use these endpoint. All right, this endpoint returns us the all item list, and this return us the specific item. All right, this is the response. We're going to create our model according to this response model. All right, but it's quite a, oh my god, it's a really big response model. Is that the item? ID number type string. Is correct. Let's have a look. Is there any small one? Yeah, back items. It seems small one. These are consumables, container, gathering. I'm just looking for the small ones. Weapons, other types. All right, let's go through with back item. This is the armor. I guess we need to, for each requested item ID, an object will the following properties returned. So we need to type them all. Junk basic find master member string. Alright. This is the property, and these are the return types. Alright, we can do it, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. These are optional, optional, optional. We can skip the optional ones. Alright, let's try to create this model first. Then we need to find the base address. Let's have a look. Is there any base address here? Alright, this is the example. This is the address. Let's test this address, by the way. I always do that. Open link in a new tab. As you can see, we connected the database and we receive the data like that. Okay, let's go back now. Perfect. It seems this is our base address, and the second one is the API endpoint. Okay, let's start creating our model first. Add class build wars items. It's gonna take a little bit long, but I would like to make a real example for you guys. Perfect. Let's create our properties now. Do not forget, you need to type exactly the property name, how it's written on in the documents, okay? Or on the documents, yeah. Let's get back here. This is our response. The ID number, prop int ID, chat link string, chat link. We have a name here, prop name. Oops, sorry, string name. We have an icon, string icon, and this is optional, so we can add question mark here. It can be nullable. We have description, it is string, right? Okay, let's use copy and paste, not to type any wrong property name. Alright, so we have a type string. Let's have a look. Prop string type. All right, let's move on. Rarity, prop string rarity level. All right, let's say prop int level number. It's integer because it's number. Vendor value. Let's copy prop vendor value. All right. Number one optional default skin. Let's copy the text. So is that number integer? Let's add our question mark because it is optional. Yep. Array of strings. Let's copy prop string. This is an array. Yep, here we go. Is that optional? No, it's not optional. Game types, again, array of strings. Prop string game types. All right. Restrictions, array of string again. Prop string restrictions. Hopefully it is going to work. we used a lot of time to create this model. Array and optional. Array of what? Upgrades intro. So we have upgrade string and item ID integer. So we need to create a new object. As you can see, this object has different two property. So upgrades intro. All right, let's create another object here. Public class upgrade intro. All right, let's add this upgrade intro first. Prop upgrade intro upgrade. Yep, let's fix the name. Upgrade upgrade intro. Let's copy the text. Perfect. This is going to be an array. Yep, and it is an optional. Let's put our question mark here. So let's add upgrade string. Yep, and we have item ID as an integer. Anything else? Upgrades from. This is another array. Optional. List what items this item can be upgraded from and method of upgrading. See upgrades into. For format. Okay, we're going to use the same format for upgrades from. So let's create another class here, and they are using same format. All right. We can use share it, by the way. Public class upgrade info. Let's copy and paste properties. Now I'm going to use inheritance. It is going to be better. All right. So we are preventing repeating ourselves. Upgrade info, intro, and from. Perfect. Let's type the name upgrades into the property name. Let's type the property name. Let's copy, and we have upgrade from. This is the optional. Yep, optional. And from, let's say upgrades from. Upgrades from. Perfect. We have details, and this is object and optional. prop, oops, prop, object, details, and this is optional. Anything else? It seems everything correct, perfect. Let's minimize it. Let's save our model. Hopefully it is going to work, guys. Let's get back our controller. All right, to create a request for the API, we're going to use HTTP client. Okay, var HTTP client. Now I'm going to create a new object of an HTTP client. New HTTP client. So we're going to use this object to make a request. All right. Let's var response. So we're going to make our request, and in return we're going to get our response. All right. It is going to be an asynchronous method. Perfect. Let's use our HTTP client now. Then you will able to see how we're able to send our request. So we're going to use get async. By the way, why I'm using get async? Let's go back our documentation. Let's have a look quickly. Okay, is there any specification what kind of method should we use? Let me have a look. I'm just checking everything. It's not written here, I guess, but the thing is, if you are using a public API, they're not give you any permission to change the data. So basically, we are supposed to use get method. All right, get async. First of all, it is asking us give a request URI. All right, let's take the address from here. This is our address. Items. Okay, we're going to get the all items first of all. Let's use this endpoint. Perfect. If we're able to get the response, we need to, how can I say, take our content from this response. Let's say our content, yeah, thanks to IntelliSense of Visual Studio, await response, content, read as string. Let's type step by step. We're going to get our response, and we're going to get our content, and we want our application to convert it as a string. Okay, now our content comes in our hands as a string format. Now we're going to deserialize it to match our model. Let's create our model. All right, to use that I'm going to use JSON convert. We're going to install package Newton JSON. All right, we're going to use deserialize object. Our object is going to be a list because we're going to return a lot of items, and object is good for items, and it is asking us a string value, and our information converted to string in our content variable. Perfect. We're supposed to have our all item list here. Let's put a breakpoint here, and let's see step by step, is it going to work or not. Before that, I'm going to set this project as a startup. Yeah, let's run the project now. Oh, we have a error here. All right. Yeah, I understand what's the problem is. We use asynchronous methods, but we didn't wrap our action result with the task. Let's wrap with the task. All done. Let's run the application again. Hopefully it is going to work. I'm telling you, I didn't try it before. Hopefully we're going to get the result. But we are working with the APIs. You never get the exact information on the first time. Okay, what was our controller name? Public API consumer and index. All right. This is a controller name. Let's send request to index method. Here we go. Let's use F10. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, we received our response. This is 200 status code, and it is okay. As you can see, we able to receive 100% successfully our response. The main problem is, are we able to map the object comes from response and to our model, by the way. Let's F10. Let's have a look content. As you can see, this is our content. Let's have a look. As you can see, this is all our content. But somehow we just received the item ID, not a whole list. There is a problem. We're going to get error message here. Let's F10. Yep, here we go. We received an error message. This is always happens, guys. Let's have a look at our documentation now. Let's have a look at our first endpoint items. Okay. Request the list of available. Alright. It returns available item IDs. We couldn't get all item list. So we need to send an ID to receive a specific one. Okay. Now we're going to change. So we're not going to get all items. We're going to get just one item, right? Let's send it. Okay. But we need to send an item ID. So let's give a parameter here. Item, sorry, integer ID. So I'm going to give this ID. Let's use string interpolator. I'm going to give this ID as a variable here. Okay. Okay, now let's try one more time. Now I'm going to give the ID as a parameter. All right. What was the public? Let's copy and paste. Public consumer, yep. Index, perfect. So we're going to give ID, right? Question mark. Remember our query string use methods, all right? So it is going to be ID equal, let's say 1523. Hopefully we're going to we're going to get this item. Let's send the request. The index was not found. Yeah, obviously we didn't put any breakpoint here because we don't create our index. We didn't create our index. We don't have any view, by the way. Okay, let's type one more time. Consumer index ID. Here we go. Let's see everything one more time. This is our response to 100 status code and okay. This is our content. All right, we catch the object. By the way, I just used a random number. Let's have a look our JSON visualization. Okay, this is name, description, type, blah blah, all information related to the object. Perfect. Let's use F10. This is our model. Yep, perfect. We received all data and we mapped all of them to our objects, as you can see. Perfect. Hopefully you understand how we able to receive data from a public API. Let's stop the application. Let's make it a little bit further. So I'm going to send this model to my view. Perfect. All right. Let's create an index. Add view. Browser view. Let's create our view. I'm waiting my application to create my CSS/HTML file linked to our index action result method. Perfect, we received it. First of all, we need to add our model, and our model is going to be guild wars items. Guild wars items, perfect. Let's type our informations now. Let's add some info. Add model dot, not you, model dot. Okay, let's get the icon image first. Let's get the icon, but we need to use image, right? Not icon, not the link. Okay, let's delete it. Let's say image. Why I couldn't type it? Okay, perfect. The source is going to be at model dot icon. Perfect. We don't need alt. Just source is going to be enough for us for now. Okay, let's add #5 model dot name. Let's get the name. That's enough for a testing object. Let's run the application. Hopefully we're going to get the image and item name. Let's go back our controller. Why I used such a that long controller name. Alright, slash, and we have index question mark id equal 1523. Let's send it. Okay, let's continue. Here we go. This is our object item and name. Alright guys, hopefully you understand how we able to consume data from a public API. If you have any question, please drop comment below the video, and if you crash the like button, I will be really appreciated, as it's really motivates me to create a new content. Take care of yourself. See you on next lesson. Bye bye.